But I said, now it's time to look for a property, I couldn't afford anything, but I was looking so much. And, I wanted to find something to build, plant the vineyard the way I wanted, build a winery the way I wanted, but I started to count the money. I said, okay, that doesn't work. And I came here, and right away when I opened the first batch, I see those trees, I see here, I say, okay, I think it's done. That's his place. And it was right during the middle of harvest, which is the worst time you can focus on that and do any business together. And he came back to me and said, okay, I really want to do business with you. Oh, okay. And then we went close to a deal, and we moved in 17th of January.
Welcome to the Winemakers podcast. In each episode, we meet one winemaker and get the chance to hear their story on their turf. We walk through the vineyard, taste their wine, and share a home-cooked meal. If you haven't already, visit thewinemakersseries.com to order your Season 1 case, one bottle for each winemaker. Then pull cork, press play, and enjoy. Wine is the epitome of romance, and Guillaume Fabre may very well be Prince Charming. French, easy on the eyes, works with his hands, makes impressive wine, and he even named the estate winery after his wife, Solene, which is a story of love at first sight. Guillaume follows his heart in everything he does, including leaving a 6th-generation tradition of French winemaking to continue the passionate rebellion of French expats in Paso Robles. After a decade of tutelage under Stéphane Asseo of L'Aventure, Guillaume struck out to craft his own vision in Paso. The French presence expanded once more when Guillaume's younger brother also came over from France. Together, they started a new venture and named their signature wine the Two Brothers. Guillaume applies the same attention to vineyard management as he does to his family. He's garnered a huge respect from his peers for his rigor, focus, and precision. Most people say he makes the best Cabernet Sauvignon in Paso, maybe on the whole Central Coast. The story of what he's building will continue to be a fairy tale.
So I always dreamed to do my own projects. I always tell my dad, he said, you see. And then actually I did what I wanted to do from day one, start my own thing. But I always tell my interns, always go for the hardest decision. If you go for the hardest decision, you go farther. If you take the easy decision, it never bring you anywhere.
From Cellar Media, this is The Winemakers, Paso Robles, California. I'm Louise Houghton. Guillaume and his piercing blue eyes meet me at the edge of his estate, Clos Solène, on a stunning day in West Paso. Only a year ago, this property was a construction zone. Since then, it's undergone a complete transformation, from the dead orchard he bought to the vineyard he dreamt about his whole life. This 6th-generation winemaker is now thriving on American soil, and every corner of the property has been molded by Guillaume's giant hands.
But you see here the vineyard, how it's laid out. So when you plant the vineyard, you have to go kind of follow the slope. You see here we have to go up and down for the tractors and the vine to grow.
Yeah.
And here they follow the slope this way, which pretty obvious right here. So we have kind of 2 blocks. So we have an alley over here, and the tractor can go this way or can go this way. And we do like roses too on the ends, which look good too, like the French vineyards.
I think we've painted a nice picture of how it seems to come into Clos Solène.
Yes.
It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
And in 4 years' time.
Yes, in 4 years. Taste the fruits and,
When it's all ready. Shall we walk along?
Yeah, maybe we should walk over there, huh?
Guillaume's been in Paso for over 10 years making wine, but his vision only started taking shape recently in the form of a property, his own estate.
So you said, you want to dive into the story?
The story of how you got to California. Because you grew up, of course, on a vineyard.
Yeah.
How was that? Just
growing up in the vineyard? Oh gosh, it was amazing. I mean, like my kids is doing today, they're like, take every step on it.
But as the oldest son, were you sort of expected to take over?
It was pretty obvious. I was on it because I was always following my dad. I have a son, he's 5 right now. He does follow me, but not as like I was doing with my dad. I mean, I was really every step. And when my dad wasn't taking me, I was crying like hell.
Oh, really?
And so...
So you always kind of knew that that was what you wanted to do?
I knew I loved that, yeah. I loved, the farming. I loved, the whole experience was like...
It's worth re-emphasising that Guillaume is a 6th-generation winemaker. His family has been making wine since the 1600s. Guillaume himself was born and raised on a vineyard in Languedoc, an old-world ancient wine region in the south of France.
So my dad had this beautiful estate in south of France, but it was like a family estate where he was a bit tired to work with his, family, dad, and he wanted to separate himself. So he decided to move. So he looked at Provence, he looked at the Rhone Valley, but things were so expensive there. So he moved to he looked at Bordeaux. And he did maybe the wrong things, like starting to visit properties without selling his own estate. And he fell in love with one and bought it without selling the other one. So it was a very hard challenge for him. So 2000, he moved to Bordeaux with my mom. I stayed in south of France to finish my school, did a 3-year degree, and worked another estate, helped him to sell the estate. And when I was done, and finished school, I actually went to work for an estate for about 2 years, where the vineyard killed himself during harvest. So it was like a dramatic story, helping him for 2 years, and the son took over. It was tough for the family, so they called me and said, hey, do you want to take the challenge? I was 21 only, and he was managing like 100 acres, that gold medal all over the places.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I take the challenge. So I did that for 2.5 years, yeah. And the son took over after.
Okay.
And when I moved to Bordeaux to help my dad in 03, I said, I'm leaving again.
So tell me about moving to Bordeaux and meeting Solène.
I was in south of France, visited my family in Bordeaux in 2001. And went to church because we're Catholic, and then I saw Solène on the front singing at church. And in my head, that's my wife right there. That's how things started.
You just knew?
Oh, I knew right away, yeah.
Aww.
She was young, she was maybe 19.
And you were how old?
I was 21.
Okay.
Yeah, we're like 2 years apart or 3 years apart.
Okay.
And so when that day I saw her, gosh, kind of turned everything in my head. And then my brother said, Guillaume, do you want to do a ski trip, So we kind of set up a weekend on that. And then we were all weekend together. I didn't do anything, but it was really what, I felt. And she felt also with me.
Oh, she was there on the ski trip?
Solene was on a ski trip. And then, things started. And then it was really fast, actually. Wanted to get married right away and all of that. And then her family, my family started to kind of battle together. So that's why I left and went to America to kind of do a cleanup on my head.
But you still intended to go back at that point?
Yeah, totally. But I never came back to France. I actually thought when I was 15 or 16 to do that, but more like in Argentina, Chile, and those ones.
Yeah.
But the idea was on my mind, but never thought I would jump on it. And then, life happened and things happened that, in 2003, I took the decision to leave.
But that was just temporarily initially, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like intern for 10 months, 11 months, and ended up to be,
And what was the benefit then of doing that, did you think?
To do the internship?
Yeah.
I mean, the first benefit was the language. And after it was about learning what New World wine was doing. Because in France, in 2000, we took a huge hit with, Australian wines. All the wine from America less because they're more expensive. But all the cheaper one like Chile and all of that. And I told my dad, I really want to see what's going on, what they do, what we don't do. And he said, yeah, sure. And come back. And they never did. But when I came here, I'm somebody very I'm not going to cry or whatever. So I'm going to go. If I do something, I go up to the end. So I said, if I'm here, I'm going to do everything I can to really do things, Immerse myself, didn't talk English, was super hard. Didn't have that many French people like today. It's crazy. I mean, 14 years ago was like, I was okay, I go to church, I meet some people, and then became friends, and then, So you had to find your own place, find the language right, find your friendship, leave your girlfriend. But I would always tell my interns, always go for the hardest decision. If you go for the hardest decision, you will go always fine. You go farther. If you take the easy decision, it never bring you anywhere. So, first of all, the area where I wanted to come, like I said, it's more like was south of hemisphere, like Chile and Argentina. But nobody, kind of came back from my letter. I asked if they will take me as an intern. So a friend of mine knew somebody in Paso, and he was this Frenchman, Stéphane. He said, gosh, if I go there, I'm going to talk French, which I want to learn English. So that's how the story started. That's why I chose Paso.
Guillaume's connection turned out to be Stéphane Asseo of L'Aventure, a well-established winemaker in Paso for over 25 years.
Because of Stéphane?
Yeah.
That wasn't so simple from what I understand, because you had your now wife back in Europe.
We took a year, to separate ourselves, see really what we want to do together. And then, 4 months later, we called back each other. I said, I really want to come here. I said, yeah, but, the money, blah, blah, blah. It's done, here is the ticket. We're going to start to Vegas, and then Vegas, going to travel a little bit and going back to Paso. I said, okay, yeah, I like the venture, so it was awesome. Yeah.
The Winemakers podcast is supported by Winerist.com. Winerist.com is dedicated to making your wine and food travel simple. Discover experiences in over 130 destinations worldwide that are curated to fulfill all your wine and food dreams. You've heard from the experts. Now explore the regions that inspire them with Winerist.com. After 10 years of building Clos Solène out of rented space in Tin City, Guillaume knew it was time to take the next step towards his vision.
But I said, now it's time to look for a property, So I'm so glad I didn't buy anything for the 2017 because I couldn't afford anything. But I was looking so much like empty lots like this. And, I wanted to find something like that to build, plant the vineyard the way I wanted, build a winery the way I wanted. But I started to count the money. I said, okay, that doesn't work. This place was for sale for 10 years.
Okay.
And I said, what about this estate, Pipestone? And I called them, signed a contract because they said, you need to be interesting to look. Yeah, of course, if I come, I'm interested. And I came here, and right away when I opened the first batch, I see those trees, I see here, I say, okay, I think it's done. That's this place. And it was right during the middle of harvest, which is the worst time you can do, you can focus on that. And then we went too close to a deal, and we moved in 17th of January. And then actually I did what I wanted to do from day one, start my own thing. The name Clos Solène, okay? So Solène, my wife, obviously, that you know. Clos usually is enclosed of rocks. It's a small property enclosed with a wall of stone all around. It's like very intimate, very kind of, small also. And then when you come in, you have the vineyards. And my goal is to really have awesome vineyards so that people, oh my gosh, looks so good. Already on the mind, when they come to taste the wine, they feel it's already there, which is kind of sometimes not true, Yeah. But I'm very particular with the viticulture and all that. And when you go in the tasting room, we kind of build that French feeling a little bit because it's my taste also, our taste with my wife.
Yeah.
I think from England, you have your own taste. Australia has own taste, American has own taste, you see what I mean? Like here in America, everything is big. Like you have a big car, you have a big estate, you have a big house. Here it's the opposite. It's kind of smaller blocks, smaller house. You see what I mean? It's like everything gets
More quaint.
More quaint, yeah. But nothing wrong about the other side,
Yeah.
But just different. I mean, that's why we built the estate as our taste. And again, you're right, it's a French taste. And there's a lot of thinking. The soil, the height of the post, the spacing, why here, the sun, what time is it? The sun is different. Oh, let's do that there. I mean, you can be way more simple. I'm not simple at all.
The smell when you walk into this room.
It's the smell of a barrel, smell of...
Smells yeasty. You can
kind of, yeah.
smell the fermentation. But your process is very different. You're breaking all the rules that you ever learned in France.
Yeah.
And why was there a decision to do that?
I mean, breaking the rules to come here, I mean, everybody can move to, America or make wine or whatever. I think breaking the rules because, I mean, we don't break the rules much on the varietals because Paso area is getting very known for Grenache, Syrah, Morvan. Even if Paso is planted with 40% Cabernet Sauvignon in the AVA. So we do mostly Rhones because those are very, in the market today, very hot around Paso. Mm-hmm. Breaking the rules also because I do everything in barrels. I do everything by hand. And I'm a little bit too crazy, too fanatic about how my passion is. But when it comes to vine and rose and different exposure and things like that, I like to keep things separate, ferment them, maybe together on some. But the barrel things, like, it's a big work, but it's cool. It's like having hundreds of tanks, but in that, size. That is why, again, I break the rules. It's like how you have a big grapes, make it soft. That's why it's hard. It's a lot of things during the vinification, the planting, the Grenache pouring in Syrah. I mean, not too many people does that.
So how do you make it that way?
Because, I developed my own, this wine it's called the Hommage à nos pères. So it's one lot. And I always wanted to put Grenache and Viognier. And my dad didn't do that. My older boss, Stefan, never did that. It's something I kind of say, I think it will be the right percentage. And now we do on the blend, Phil, when we plant that way.
A lot of people say about tannins that they don't like them, that there's something wrong with them, but the tannins give the flavor to the wine.
The tannin is the frame of the wine. Sometimes you don't like this type of frame, but you might like this type of frame. So it's really that.
Okay.
So it depends the style of the tannin of the winemaker. Go find them because the tannin are not built on the barrels. It's built during the harvest.
Okay.
Like the pump over. I mean, how you work the juice and all that. That is when you make the wine. After it's done, it's the barrel of the job to finish the rest, make it rounder. But I think the nice frame, I rarely got people who kind of say, oh, I hate your tannin or whatever, because I think they are aware of what's going on behind it. So it's really depend on the style of the winery.
You've made these wines to be a little bit old world style, which you say, in the new world region. Mm-hmm. It's quite an interesting combination.
The reaction of the clients are pretty interesting, actually. They say, oh my gosh, it's like you are sitting in Europe or in Bordeaux, especially for the Cabernet one.
The Winemakers podcast is inspired by the Winemakers of Paso Robles coffee table book. The Winemakers of Paso Robles coffee table book is the perfect gift for the wine lover on your list. It took more than a year of interviews and photo shoots to make this 328-page large format book. It's the perfect book to curl up with a glass of wine and escape to wine country. The Winemakers of Paso Robles. Check it out on Amazon.com and at WNMKRS.com. That's WNMKRS.com. There are only a few first editions left, so get yours today. The Winemakers podcast is supported by PasoRoblesWineries.net. PasoRoblesWineries.net is the best resource for planning the perfect trip to Paso. Decide where you want to taste, eat, stay, and explore all in one place with the only comprehensive map of every winery, distillery, and brewery in the area. You can also find tasting coupons and hospitality discounts. Text specials to 24587 for coupons. That's specials to 24587. And you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Paso Robles Wineries. PasoRoblesWineries.net is the best place to plan your next trip to Paso.
Arnaud, on fait pas au barbecue?
Arnaud is Guillaume's brother, who followed him to Paso, and they're talking about cooking our dinner. Meals at the Fabre house are a family affair. Arnaud and his wife and a gaggle of children colour the scene as we pass through the screen door into the kitchen. The ambiance is typical for a French country home. It's open, simple, and fresh. The wood furniture gives a rustic feel to the cosy family environment.
So the house is full of kids, huh? So coming in. So this is my sister-in-law.
Hello. Hello. Very nice to meet you.
Mathilde.
Nice to meet you. Louise.
And all my nephews.
Hello.
This is my daughter Clémentine.
Hi, Clementine.
Mathilde, my sister-in-law.
They all have such beautiful eyes. Huh? So you're going to make some duck for us, is that right?
Yeah, so Arnaud...
duck is something that is going back a few years where our mother every Sunday was cooking a big meal for the whole family. So Sunday lunch in France is something that very precious, where we were going to the church first, and then my mother were going to the market, the farmer's market, grab all those good ingredients, and was cooking for the whole family. And the duck is it's something we knew back in Languedoc-Roussillon, but that's something we really dig on in Bordeaux, which is the region southwest. It's been very popular, and that's the main, I would say, meal you will enjoy.
So what are you going to do with the duck?
So we're going to cook it with...
Who's the chef in the house?
Back in France,
Arnaud?
that's why we,
the chef?
Guillaume, it's the same thing. It's very complimentary. He makes the wine, and we pair it with food, and we have fun. But usually in France, on a Sunday, we were cooking the duck on old vines, like dead vines, to get that smokiness. And we were cooking with peach. Peach is very sweet, so I thought that was a bit too sweet for the wines. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna cook it with turnips.
Okay.
Turnips, which is a perfect season right now. We're gonna cook it with onion and easy going, and then that we're gonna put it on the barbecue.
And then which wine are you serving, Guillaume?
So we opened the binôme Les Deux Frères.
Translated, Les Deux Frères means the two brothers. The Binôme label is a new venture Guillaume is working on with Arnaud.
And this is a side project.
So exactly. So binôme. When Arnaud came back in America, 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. So when I knew I was going to leave our old location, I told him we should make something together. Take this place at that time. And so we came up with a whole idea of what kind of wine we are going to do, like based with Cabernet, with our new now legacy being in Bordeaux, but behind with different blends, play what our roots were come from with some Grenache, which we had a lot in Southeast, and some Tempranillo as well. So this one is a blend of 50 Grenache, 25 Cabernet, and 25 Tempranillo. And we really wanted to do that to really also for the heritage, what happened in the past.
You told me you didn't want to work with family.
I know, but it was an exception here.
Must be a good brother.
Yeah,
There's an exception to the rule.
And so that's definitely it's all about the two of us being very complementary. The style of wine we made was definitely for food pairing. In Paso Robles you have a lot of wine that are great as well without any food. Those wine, we made them for food. And so by picking Les Deux Frères, we really want to show the story behind it. And the duck is definitely something very delicate, wide at the same time. And that's exactly Les Deux Frères. You have a lot of finesse and elegance, the richness of Paso Robles, and the power to the talents of it. Mm-hmm. So it definitely complement each other. We want to continue here, and I think our parents are very proud that we didn't continue in Bordeaux, but we are continuing the legacy in Paso Robles, and I think they are very proud of that. And by seeing the success of Guillaume and being a rockstar winemaker in Paso.
Oh, don't say that.
We're gonna become red. It's a good pride for our parents to see that.
We head back outside through the kitchen door to check the duck cooking on the old vines.
So all of the vines that you put there have now just
Yeah.
burnt down
Yeah.
to this kind of charcoal look?
Exactly. Yeah. Right now it's it's a bit too soft, but with the fat falling on the wood is gonna, you can see the smoke starting.
Yeah.
That's gonna definitely give a good taste to the meat. And like I said, it's very delicate meat. You have a lot of whiteness into it, but it's delicate, so it will pair perfectly with the wine.
Is that done, the duck?
I think it's perfect. You have a...
Yeah.
Okay. Très bon. J'aime beaucoup.
Voilà. J'aime beaucoup.
Guys, this looks amazing. I love how you've just served it on the chopping board. Very authentic. Seasoning now, salt and pepper.
Yeah, salt and pepper. There's no spice on the meat, just salt and
Okay.
pepper.
Fantastic.
But that's kind of what our education was more like family food, family style than very like on details,
Yeah.
like refined. It was more like nice piece of meat, nice complementary vegetables, and that's it.
Just tell me
can
now, why is it that the wine pairs so well with it?
On a food, which is the basics, you don't want to have the food too sweet for the wine. The wine has to be always sweeter. And here, it's more like a complementary and a congruent pairing where you have the delicate meat with that smokiness from the barbecue. That goes really well with the fruitiness of the Grenache. And the fat on the meat definitely complements the tannins on the wine.
Fantastic. So we get to
Let
try?
me grab a fork.
Yeah, please. Oh, that's fantastic.
Does that
Thank
make
you so
sense?
much for cooking for us. It was really lovely to be here in your family home. Thanks for inviting us in.
Oh, yeah, pleasure.
It's actually the best day. We have everybody.
Yeah. Your whole family. Even better. Thank you so much.
You try the tonic.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you think you drink every single day of the week?
No, we don't drink enough. Personally, I don't drink enough. Do you?
The Winemakers podcast is a production of Cellar Media, hosted by me, Louise Houghton. Executive producer and creative director, Lauren Mattick. Co-produced by Louise Houghton and John Meek. Original score, editing, and sound design by John Meek of 10 Minutes Early. Live sound engineering by Dean Lee. Additional editing by Miguel Coez of the Music Interval Theory Academy. And additional sound engineering by Brian Vasquez. The Winemakers series was created by Julia Perez. For show notes, links, and more, please visit wnmkrs.com/podcast. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Winemakers Series. And please subscribe, share, and rate us on iTunes.
Cellar Media.